Oh man, so Sam Bankman-Fried, 30 days after the FTX collapse, has officially been arrested in the Bahamas. What is likely to transpire next? What type of sentence? Could there be a conviction? Will he be extradited? Loads to uncover here, guys. But at the moment, what we can see is that Bitcoin is rejoicing. Bitcoin $17,400 right now, rejoicing on the news that Sam Bankman-Fried has been arrested. I broke the news yesterday, and as you can see here last night, we got the statement from the Attorney General of the Bahamas, and we're just going to quickly go through this because it's worth going through for the details. And he says, on December the 12th, the Office of the Attorney General of the Bahamas is announcing the arrest of former CEO of FTX, Sam Bankman-Fried. SBF's arrest followed receipt of formal notification from the United States that it has filed criminal charges against SBF and is likely to request his extradition. So in other words, guys, that means that the US has asked for this, and that is why the Bahamas are going ahead and arrested him. In other words, the Bahamas didn't have enough intelligence on their side just yet to place a formal arrest on Sam Bankman-Fried, but with the data shared by the US, who have asked for him to be arrested, they've shown the data, they've gone ahead and arrested him. And it says here, likely to request his extradition. As a result of the notification received and the material provided therewith, in other words, the evidence, it was deemed appropriate for the Attorney General to seek SBF's arrest and hold him in custody pursuant to our nation's Extradition Act. So again, for those who aren't familiar, there's been an extradition bill in place between the Bahamas and the US for the best part of, I believe, over 80, 90 years. And it was even renewed as soon as 1990. And the way it basically works is, if you send some data across to say that somebody in the Bahamas has committed some sort of criminal act, and you can show enough data to warrant their arrest, the Bahamian government will go ahead, place the arrest, and then you can go through the process of extradition. So this is really interesting because normally in these types of cases, one of the biggest difficulties is actually securing the extradition. Sometimes it could take years for somebody to be extradited, right? But the fact that Sam Bankman-Fried stayed in the Bahamas, who have a decent relationship with the US in terms of extradition, could mean that this could be over quite quickly, which is very interesting. Let's continue here with some of the details. And at such a time as a formal request for extradition is made, the Bahamas intends to process it promptly pursuant to Bahamian law and its treaty obligations with the United States. So they're not playing around here. This is in other countries, sometimes you get a little bit of a chicken and egg game here where countries are playing a little bit difficult and they're not so easy to extradite somebody. But they seem really open here, and they're saying, we'll do it when it's requested. Responding to SBF's arrest, Prime Minister Davis stated the Bahamas and the United States have a shared interest in holding accountable all individuals associated with FTX who may have betrayed the public trust and broken the law. While the US is pursuing criminal charges against SBF, the Bahamas will continue its own regulatory and criminal investigations into the collapse. So they're going to carry on regardless. So finally, guys, the news everybody has been waiting for, 30 days later, Sam Bankman-Fried has officially been arrested. So what happens from here? Well, we've just had the US Attorney State District New York, Damian Williams, earlier this evening. Bahamian authorities arrested Sam Bankman-Fried at the request of the US government based on the sealed indictment filed by the SDNY. And anybody who knows, I know from speaking to a few people based in the US, I'm not as familiar as other people who are based over there. The SDNY do not mess about. These are some of the best prosecutors in the United States who like to set an example on cases like this. So for those of you wanting full justice, from what I'm hearing from people based in the US, these are the people to do it. We expect to move to unseal the indictment in the morning, and we'll have more to say at that time. So still nothing, guys. We're obviously at the next morning now, but still nothing on US time. So as and when that's released, we'll get an update on that. Now, by the way, guys, please remember, in the next couple of hours, we will be live for the CPI reading. So make sure you've turned on the notification bell to remind yourself of that live stream as well. All important CPI reading in the next couple of hours. Now, a few other things we do need to walk through, and that's that the charges could include wire fraud, securities fraud, money laundering, and related conspiracy. So in other words, guys, if you were to take a conviction on any one of these and have a sentence passed on any one of these, you could be seeing life imprisonment on just any one of these. Now, of course, this is going to take many years to now play through. Don't be surprised to see if this drags on for 2, 3, maybe even 4 years. But a lot of people are expecting at least 20 years here for Sam Bankman-Fried. And that's if just one of these charges sticks with him. Now, you can see, as we covered off, that the Bahamas will continue to pursue its own investigation into the FTX collapse. We covered that off. Bankman-Fried will appear in court on Tuesday in the Bahamas, guys. So that's today. At the time you're watching this video, he should be appearing in court. Now, interestingly, he was supposed to be at the Senate hearing, right? He was supposed to be there at the Senate hearing today. He said he would attend virtually because he was scared, obviously, to land in the United States physically. And the Senate, the hearing committee members said they were very surprised, right? They released a statement saying they were very surprised that he was arrested and they didn't expect it. But maybe there's something a bit more going on there in terms of, oh, if he didn't want to attend in person, we'll go and arrest him. And by the way, they would have seen his statement that he prepared for the Senate hearing anyway. So maybe they read this, they read the preview, they weren't too impressed, and they just wanted to pick him up and get things going. Let's also take a look at a few other interesting pieces shared by CNBC, which I wanted to share with you as well. And that is this. When you get these types of sentences, this is obviously going to play out now over time. We don't want to jump the gun too much here, but there's a numbering system in the States. So you can see there's a scale of different things, and depending on what you hit, the level of your score and therefore your sentence increases. So for example, the dollar value of loss plays a significant role. Right? So that's important. Having 25 victims or more adds another 6 points. So these are all things that Sam Bankman-Fried is on the wrong side of, right? The dollar value is billions, right? Much more than, the 550 million here, which gives you 30 points. Having 25 or more victims, I mean, he's got 1 million victims. I mean, this is huge. And to put it into comparison, guys, look at this. Stephen Kim, the Australian founder of $90 million cryptocurrency hedge fund, nowhere near, not even 100 million, let alone 1 billion, right? He was sentenced to more than 7 years in prison after he pleaded guilty to just one account of securities fraud, let alone the many that Sam Bankman-Fried may be on the hook for. Roger Nils Jonas Carlson, a Swedish national accused by the United States of defrauding over 3,500 victims of more than 16 million, guys, not 8 billion, 16 million, was sentenced to 15 years in prison for securities fraud, wire fraud, and money laundering. So the precedent has been set here that this is not going to be an easy get out for Sam Bankman-Fried. There's going to be a lot going on over the next couple of days as we try to understand what's going on here, what evidence do they already have, or whether Sam Bankman-Fried actually intentionally wanted to get arrested so he can continue down the line of inquiry. There's so many things going on right now. Remember, Sam Bankman-Fried is from a family of well-known corporate lawyers. If anybody knows how to wriggle out of these types of situations, it is that family. But at the same time, we also know that Sam Bankman-Fried isn't the type of person that listens to people around him. I mean, if you look at the number of Twitter spaces, the number of interviews he's done over the last 10 or so days, there's a lot of information out there which probably those around him, particularly his lawyers, wouldn't have wanted him to share. Or is the whole argument going to be for Sam Bankman-Fried, I wasn't aware, I had no intent, and therefore play it down the line of intent? Loads going on here, guys, but one thing is for sure, there's progress being made, right? There's progress being made, and we can sit a little bit more comfortably now knowing that he's not just roaming about in the Bahamas, sitting in his $40 million penthouse, and actually he's going to be behind bars, and this is going to be investigated formally and properly. So now we can crack on, get back to the markets, and find out exactly what is going on in terms of CPI. So make sure you join me in the next couple of hours. We will be live streaming the CPI, where we're expecting a good CPI reading will turn on the green lights for Jerome Powell tomorrow to do that all needed 50 base rate hike. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. Don't forget to smash up likes. Don't forget to subscribe. Check out the links in the description if you're buying cryptocurrency. Go watch this video here, and I'll see you in the next one.